It was an experiment that tampered with nature's most basic laws. It went terribly wrong. It was buried 5 miles down. Now, a crew of undersea miners is about to stumble upon this terrifying secret.
Shack to 7. What's going on out there, Williams?
My God, are you picking this up?
Look at that. Leviathan.
Currently with a Russian fleet in the Baltic Sea.
Currently it's rusted junk and we're looking at it. What's your air reading?
20 minutes.
Do something quick.
We've lost him. My crew's in jeopardy.
But you have no proof.
I'm ordering you to start an emergency medical evacuation.
What if it turns out to be nothing?
Help me. It's already killed one man.
My rebreather stopped. I'm losing compression. I can't breathe.
Whatever got Six-Pack and Bowman, it's still here.
I feel something. Somebody's alive in here.
What's going on? Six-Pack. Six-Pack, answer.
Don't go in there. Don't touch anything.
What are you trying to tell us, Doc?
It absorbs the intelligence of its victims.
Thank goodness you're still alive.
When are you coming?
I say we protect ourselves.
Leviathan.
All right, Leviathan. This movie's great. It's just kind of your typical popcorn sci-fi horror film. It's got a cast of good people in it. Peter Weller, who you remember from RoboCop. Richard Crenna, who played Colonel Troutman in the Rambo films. Ernie Hudson, Ghostbusters, The Crow. He's been in all kinds of stuff. And then Daniel Stern, who you recognize from the Home Alone films. And then Meg Foster, I believe her name is. She's in a lot of movies, late 80s, early 90s. She's got these incredibly, like, almost translucent, bluish eyes. It's almost kind of creepy and, but, hot at the same time. She kind of plays the big boss of the corporation. So you have the trailer, which didn't give a whole lot away. Basically, there's this underwater mining corporation. It's always some company in these movies. And the 80s and 90s, or late 80s, early 90s at the time, were all about underwater stuff, like underwater horror stuff. You had this movie, you had Deep Star 6, you had Lords of the Deep, which is pretty bad. And then, then you had The Abyss, which isn't really horror. It's more just on the sci-fi. It's got some intense stuff in it, but the aliens aren't bad, really. I mean, they can be if they wanted. It kind of hinted at that. But, yeah, that was kind of the thing back then. They're like, yeah, Alien and Aliens is so successful. Let's try doing it under the water. Some were good, some weren't. This one I consider pretty good. It's very entertaining. So, like I said, it's a mining corporation, 5 miles down, or how many ever it said in the trailer, under the water. It's weird because it's like a creature feature, like, like Jaws or King Kong, where you have this being that decides that people don't belong in its environment or it's let loose and it kills people. This one's like that, but it's also got the more of a sci-fi horror, almost like deadly virus zombie type vibe to it also. It's eerily similar to The Thing in a lot of ways. So basically, this mining crew and the mining company, they find this derelict Russian ship tanker that's like sunk in the bottom of the ocean, and it's called Leviathan. Man, back in the 80s, it was always the Russians, always up to shadiness. Didn't matter what. Anytime in any movie you saw a Russian, this and that, some experiment going wrong. There's bad guys, there were spies. It's just, yeah, it was all about Russia and the Cold War. So they explore the ship, which, they do in these films, and they bring stuff back with them. Daniel Stern's character's name's Six-Pack, and he's just a complete goofball. He brings in this whole box of crap they found, which, I don't know. And there's vodka, and Richard Crenna's character speaks Russian, And he's like, why are all these dossiers like everybody's deceased? But whatever, you know, the Peter Weller's kind of the crew chief, and he tells them to put everything back, and he keeps the vodka in the safe in his office. Well, it's not really the vodka. I mean, yes, it is. Uh, the vodka from the bottle they find doesn't do anything. It's this little flask that Six Pack finds that he puts in his pocket right when they're digging, like dumping out all the contents of the box. That's the stuff that's bad. He drinks from it, and this other lady shows up at his bunk, and she wants some too. They get infected, and it's pretty gnarly what happens to them. Um, Daniel Stern's character, Six Pack, begins to mutate, and all hell breaks loose. And then the lady starts to mutate, her hair starts falling out. Everybody starts to panic. They're trying to like quarantine and separate them, but also help them at the same time. And then it mutates, kind of forms this one big creature, but it's still got like arms and legs and some of their faces. So it's a lot like The Thing, how the creature like takes parts of people and just kind of absorbs them. Um, and then, you know, it's the typical run around, hey, let's use some flamethrowers and try and kill this thing, and use some buzz saws, drills, whatever they can. And it at some points they end up chopping it into pieces, and it finds its way back together again. We don't really see the creature as a whole up until the end of the movie. Um, and it's just funny because it looks very 80s. It looks kind of like a demonic crawfish and shrimp or whatever. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. And it's got this great quote. You think of Jaws, like at the end when Roy Schreider's like, "Smile, you son of a bitch," and he shoots the air canister, the CO2 canister. This is kind of like, you know, I guess this movie's play on that. Um, and yeah, check it out.
Jesus! Get those people up! Robert! Get out of here!
Vic! Scott Jones! Vic! Come back!
Vic, don't! Save yourself!
Vic! Come back!
Say motherfucker! Let's get out of here! Helicopter 405 heading back to platform POC.
Vic! You made it. No one back at Trioceanic believed me, but I never gave up on you once. How do you feel?
Better. A lot better.
So that's how the movie ends. It's classic, late 80s. Let's say a quote: blow up the monster and punch the person who screwed us over. That person just happens to be Meg Foster. Um, so yeah, it's cheesy. It's got some humor to it. Um, I think I liked Deep Star Six a little bit better. I'll probably review that one eventually. This one was good. It just I felt that in a way they borrowed a little too much from the thing, and the fact I did like the twist though how it's not a creature that's already in existence, like say a shark or a squid or something like that. It's created via this whatever they were doing experiments with that was in that flask, and it gets born through people, and then it becomes the creature. So I thought that was a pretty cool twist to it. Very entertaining, good cast, very like I said, late '80s, perfect '80s cast. I'd give it about 3 out of 5 stars. Like I said, if you're bored, it's on Tubi, the app. I'd say check it out. It's definitely worth a watch.